All right, so with this, we're going to talk about layer mask a little bit. The written directions might go into a little bit more detail about what I'm going to give you. I think all the information that you can get about layer masks are very good. They're very handy. But let's say we started with just a blank white canvas. I'm going to add a layer. Then from here, this is along the lines of what he was doing with in the directions, at least to begin with. I'm going to make some sort of shape. I'm going to fill that. I can use that with the paint bucket. And I'm going to click once inside that. It's going to fill with my foreground swatch. Remember, you can change those by either picking swatches over here. I'm going to hit Control D. If we remember, that's the shortcut for deselect. And then, so right now I have this shape. I can move the shape around because it's on its own separate layer right here. I can also add a layer mask to this. And let's say we want, so let's go ahead and add a layer mask. From here, let's say we'll grab the brush tool and with black on top, so I'm going to hit X, so black's on top because that's what's going to give us the ability to erase. We're going to make a brush. I have about 200, it just depends, but we're going to draw a straight line through it by holding shift and then click and then drag, and then it makes this straight line. And we see that it erased this part of our circle, and we see a black line right here. Now, the nice thing about layer masks is that this is completely reversible. So if I were to hit X and then I were to paint over this little part, then I have that section that we erased back. You can also add effects. So let's say we wanted to add like a bevel and emboss feature to that, and then we can kind of see that it's giving it some sort of three-dimensionality to it. We can change our depth and our size and all that. If we have a spot that we like, we can hit OK. So now we have this. And we see that our effects show up with an FX right there. That signifies that we've put effects on there. And then we can even see what they are. We can turn them off by clicking on the eye. You can also turn a layer off by also clicking on the eye. But let's say we wanted something in the background. We can also, let's say we still wanted that section out, or maybe just a little bit less, and then we were to hit X, so black is on top, and let's say we wanted to take this little part out, and we can even see that it automatically does the bevel and emboss for us in that area. But again, it's completely reversible. So you can do quite a bit with this as far as painting goes. You can also open up your layer mask by holding Alt and then clicking on the thumbnail. You can see where my cursor is at, the thumbnail of that layer mask, and then your layer mask will show up. And we see that's what we see over here in the bottom right hand corner. So if we needed to make some complete adjustments right here, let's say we wanted to get rid of that line, we can do that. And if we were to click back on this, then it goes back. So if I open that back up, so we can see this. The other nice thing too, because layer masks are dealing with black and white and tonal shifts of that. So white is what will let your image pass through, and black is what will ignore it or erase it. So if I were to have black on top, then that is what's going to erase it. If I were to put white back on, that is what will bring it back. So you can get pretty creative with this. But the other nice thing too is that you can even add a black and white photograph to your layer mask. So if I were to go and let's say I were to open up a black and white photograph, so right now with this we even already have, it's got black, and it's got the it's a PNG, so there is no white, so we can even just click on this, and we could hit Control A. That would be the shortcut to select all, and then Control C is the shortcut to copy. And then if we were to, let's go ahead and delete this layer mask. And then if we were to add a layer mask again, hold Alt and click on the thumbnail of that layer mask and then hit Control V, we see that that image pasted into our layer mask. And then we see it show up right here. Now we see that it shows up a little bit off, right? So we could even unlink these two. That's what this chain means. So if you were to move one, the other moves with it. If you unlink it and then you were to move one, see how that layer mask stays in that area. So you could move that in the area that you want it. You could also make, if we were to go up to Edit and Free Transform, which Control T, another good shortcut to remember, but Free Transform, if we were to hold Shift and Alt at the same time, that'll keep it in proportion, and then we can, now we have somewhat of almost a logo looking type thing, and very quick and easy steps. The other nice thing too is that it is completely reversible. So if you did not like that, you can, by holding Shift, you can turn off your layer mask when you click on the thumbnail. So then we see it off, turn it back on, off, on. And if you didn't like it, you just delete that layer mask. Don't hit apply, you would hit delete, and there you go. So there's quite a bit of things that you can do with the layer mask. So let's say we have this and we wanted to add a background color, or even better yet, a gradient to that. We could click on our gradient tool. We could, I don't know, change it to be, let's try this one. Go with like a greenish color. You see right there that it does show up in between the areas, because again, we have that layer mask, it's erased, but it's not actually erased. So you can add stuff to the background without it being affected. So let's go ahead and try something here. Let's say we like the way this looked, but we wanted to make it fade out. So one thing that we could try to do, we could make this into a group. So now it's within this group. We could add a layer mask to that group, and then now we could try to fade this out. And then so we have that. You can move that around if you wanted to, because it's no longer linked. Also, how I'm undoing the shortcut is Control Z. If you need to go back more than one step, Control Alt Z.